What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today when I talk to you about SoFi, I want to go over some of the data points, what moved it, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So SoFi closed 2.81% in the red. Overall, for the last week, it did go down 8.57%. So definitely going through its fair share of consolidation. As per usual, once the market does open, it just pushed lower. After hours, oddly enough, it seems to be recovering, up 0.36%, but you are seeing some pretty abnormal transactions as per usual. So we'll go over that later in the video, but a lot of volume today. So 78.2 million shares being traded, 66.8 is the average. Nothing official from SoFi, no SEC filings, nothing speculative or any Easter eggs coming out from Anthony. It was largely just piggybacking off the broader market, and the market seemed okay in the beginning part. But as the day did progress, more fears did come through the pipeline associated to the whole shutdown. You also did have the market digesting what was announced yesterday after hours about potentially Trump considering between $1,000 to $2,000 for as a taxpayer rebate check. So kind of out of nowhere, but in general, if this does come, then that would be huge for the broader market. Not a 2020 to 2021 scenario where everything just went up, but in general, this should really push a lot of stocks higher. At the same time, it probably will help crypto as well, because in theory, this might make some people rather irritated, because the whole point of the tariffs was to kind of go towards debt, not just to give it back to taxpayers. But coming from an investor, it should move stocks a little bit higher. One of the biggest things that did move SoFi today, though, was Giuliano. It was a while since we've heard from him. So Compass Point Analyst has a 58% success rating, did give a $12 sell. Crazy stuff. And so he does strike again. Timing is impeccable. It's amazing stuff, just how he seems to come out of the woodwork when SoFi is always at its worst. So when it's going through a mass consolidation, that's when he just pops up like, hey, I'm here, don't forget I'm here. It's completely comical. But nonetheless, though, anticipate more bearish ratings coming down the pipeline, because leading into SoFi's upcoming earnings, or any earnings in fact, you always do get the typical bearish ones. So KBW, Bank of America, they always love to give ratings before the earnings, and they're always bearish. So again, anticipate some more sell ratings to come down the pipeline. So kind of comical if you actually think about it. When it comes down to shorts, they did return 339,000 shares. 9.5% of the free floats being shorted, works out to be 112.3 million shares overall are being shorted. As what I mentioned in my pre-market video, shorts, they were going to return today, because even when it comes down to the options, there was no real need for them to try to manipulate SoFi today. So hopping over to the options, we had 85 million in calls, 20 million in puts. 46% of all the options being done today were bearish in nature. You did see the net premiums go down about 3.4 million, so kind of significant. In my video over the weekend, I'll go over a lot of this in more of a deeper dive as well, because I'll go over as well some expectations and what big money is feeling is essentially coming. But basically, with it closing where it did, that does mean that the 25 and below strike prices are considered in the money. So quickly going back over here, you don't see any crazy walls. You see 2,000 at the 25, and that's it. So this is pretty much the lowest open interest that SoFi has had in the money for a very long time. So again, this is exactly why I mentioned why shorts didn't need to do anything. They could just sit back and relax. If SoFi was closer to that 28, then yeah, they might have to try to suppress SoFi, try to manipulate it. But honestly, given where SoFi was at, there's not really much for them to do. But aside from that, these are some of the transactions that did occur on the secondary market above $100,000. So I'm going to be starting to just orient it towards and sort it based on premiums, because that's kind of what we care about, right? You don't need to see me scroll through all these kind of pages of number of transactions. You guys don't care about that. So ultimately, these are some of the big transactions. So feel free to pause it and go through it. But a lot of them were done after hours, and that's helping to push it higher. So big money seems to be buying the dip after hours on a Friday, which is very abnormal if you ask me. But 25.2, 12.6, 12.6, 10.5, 9.45. This one right here, that 10.5, was a sell that was done exactly first thing. So that was one of the attributing factors why SoFi did get hit quite hard first thing. But nonetheless, the rest seem to be pretty good, and most of them being done after hours. These are all the transactions that did occur on the dark pool. So pretty good stuff, a little bit more tamer, because I think over the last couple of trading days, we've had randomly multiple $50 million transactions. I'm not really sure why. But this one, like 8.8 is the highest one that we had, 4.2, 3.5, 2.6. So at the end of the day, it is what it is. With it at 25.24, it actually did close right above, briefly above this S3. So 25.21, that's the support level. When it was going down, this didn't really phase it because the low for today was 24.84, high being 26.18. So yeah, this 25.21, I don't really see that being strong support whatsoever. But with it closing above it, that kind of shows that it might want to potentially recover. We'll just have to kind of wait and see. Aside from all that fun stuff though, on the actual chart, it did briefly break below that 50-day moving average, generally bouncing off of that. So that is at 24.93. That's going to be a very big deal going into next week. And keep in mind, we have not touched the 50-day moving average ultimately since, throwing it back old school, April 30th, 2025, when all hell was breaking loose because of the tariffs and everything like that. So it's been a very long time since we have touched that. So again, that's going to be a key point for us to watch going into next week. And as well, even looking at the market position, you're seeing less and less willing buyers. So as I mentioned, the Elliott Wave Technicals is kind of projecting for it to be roughly around $22, and a lot of the bigger transactions that I brought up throughout the week, big money has been anticipating for it to be kind of sub 25 and then 24.50, I do believe. There was multiple $1 million transactions that was betting on SoFi being below those points. So yeah, it's I think just SoFi hopefully will get the whole FOMO leading into their upcoming Q3 earnings, and then we'll kind of forget about all this push lower that has happened. Aside from that though, nothing really as far as news. So it was just more piggybacking off the broader market as well with that most recent rating. And so yeah, at the end of the day, it does suck. On a positive note though, again, if you want to kind of think about glass half full type of scenario, so Compass Point did raise their target from 6 to 12, still maintain that sell rating though, but they did at least move it up 100%. So again, I don't know, it might be a positive still, might be a negative. I'll leave it up to you guys to make that determination. So let me know your thoughts on SoFi. Did you buy? Did you sell? I recently did buy in the $26 range, but that was my dollar cost average type of thing. So I also did sell some $25 puts. So luckily enough, it did kind of push off of that. So I get to keep the premiums for that. But that's basically all I've done with SoFi. So let me know your thoughts on SoFi. One final thing, pop over to my Patreon if you're looking for some solid buy signals on stocks, options, crypto. I put out daily day trades, numerous swing trades, worthwhile to pop over there and take a look. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.